Yeah. Yeah. So we are coming with a force. Yeah. Blessings we are reap and we coursing on foot.
What's up, Tater Tots? It's your girl Tati, back at with another video. In this video, we are going to be talking about everyday jewelry. How do you build your everyday jewelry? What are some of the best places to go and look for your everyday jewelry? And then we'll, of course, also dive into my stack and how I built up my personal everyday jewelry as well. The first thing that you're going to be thinking about is what type of jewelry do you want? Gold or silver, or even if you like rose gold, which one would you prefer? I'm not too much into rose gold, but I do like gold and silver. When you're thinking about the material you want your jewelry to be made out of, the three main things you're probably going to be thinking about is cost, the value, and then also the longevity. So when it comes to cost, gold is more expensive than silver. That is basically it. It doesn't matter if you get 24 karat gold, what kind of gold that you get, but gold is going to always be more expensive than silver. That is something that you may or may not want to consider. That is outside of the regular what you think you might look good at. Because of course we all have our preference. Some people like gold jewelry, some people like silver jewelry because of the looks and the aesthetics of it all. I'm not here to do the vein test and things like that. Different video. But when it comes to picking, I think cost does play a really big role. For me personally, I started a lot of my jewelry collection with silver when I was thinking about, okay, no, I want everyday jewelry because of the cost. Now, when it comes to value, just like gold costs more, gold does have a higher value and it holds its value longer than silver. So when you're thinking about investment, like, because for everyday jewelry, some people may want to invest. Gold is more of an investment and you will get a return on that investment. Baby, people always want gold and the price of gold will always be going up. When it comes to retaining its value, the most pure form of gold is the 24 karat or the 22 karat gold. So looking into that, because 18, 20, stuff like that, resale is not going to be as good or return on the investment. Maybe if you're reselling it because of the brand name, which is another conversation, but that is something that you may want to consider when it comes to an investment and maybe getting a return on your investment. That's a little bit more down the line for my people who are really invested in that jewelry or care a little bit more about jewelry, because that element I didn't learn about until I was a little bit more into jewelry, but it is something that you might want to consider. The last thing is longevity, because I know a lot of people love gold. I know it is beautiful. It matches a lot of people's skin tone. It retains its value and all of these other beautiful things. But I also went with silver, not just because of the cost, but because gold is a softer metal. And so when I was doing some of my research, I came to the conclusion that gold might not be, like, gold jewelry might not be the jewelry that you want for everyday wear and tear, because it is going to get more worn down than your silver might. And cleaning it and all that type of process might be a little bit different than what silver would be. So that is also something that you need to consider when you're picking your jewelry. I think for starters, silver and like sterling silver, all this type of stuff, the metals, those are better to start with, hyperallergenic, things like that. So I would kind of recommend those, and that's where I would go to. But again, it depends on the other things that I said, such as, are you really ready to invest, and you also want to be thinking about the investments that you're making into your jewelry and your clothing, and also, does it even look good on you and things like that. Another thing is gold-plated jewelry, which still falls in the gold category, because just like gold is a little bit softer, a little bit more wear and tear, gold-plated jewelry does not hold up as much as silver jewelry. That's what I have seen. I have gotten rings, bracelets, earrings, different things from the same brand, and the gold plated did not last as long as the silver. So that is still something to consider. Even if you do go the more cost-effective route of using gold-plated items, the longevity still may or may not be an issue. Now, I'm not saying this to sway you from getting gold-plated items or to sway you from using gold, because I have some gold jewelry on today. I have included gold jewelry into my everyday jewelry. I do like gold jewelry, and I do think it's worth investing in, whether it is you really wanting to get your return on investment or you just like gold jewelry. Gold-plated jewelry is a much more affordable option. But when you're thinking about the longevity of 2, 4, 10 years from now, that is something to consider, because gold-plated is not going to hold you up the 2, 4, 6, all those years from now. Now that you have gone over the type of jewelry you would like the look of it all, the gold or silver, the next thing to do is to test it out. So test it out, and I would always say recommend going cheap. I started with like Forever 21 jewelry. I also like Pavio's jewelry. Look around, try some cheaper options, and test out the different things. If you think you want all the different rings, because when I was younger, I loved the trend of the rings, and you guys know we used to have the mid-finger rings and stuff like that. I loved all of those designs. You can see all of those rings didn't make it to today because in practical use every day, I couldn't hold the rings up here. They didn't really last like that. Versus my ring finger, my index finger, I love a ring on, and a pinky ring, I love me a good pinky ring. I could keep those, but not the ones that you'd lose the mid finger rings all the time. They didn't last as long. Same with like band. I thought, because I do like daintier jewelry, you know, I was thinking maybe I would love the little dainty bands. I've realized with these fat chunky fingers, baby, dainty rings are not for me necessarily. So give yourself time to really test out the different type of trends. Maybe you think you might like a pendant. Maybe you want a chain instead of like a little pendant. I love the snake rope, like the snake chain. I love that. I used to wear a pendant. I used to have a pendant on the snake rope. It's a lot thicker than this necklace, and I absolutely love it. Versus you might try it and you're like, I need something a little bit daintier. Like as of lately, I've been loving things a little bit daintier. Test out all of the different styles, because that's really going to help you narrow down when it comes to, okay, really properly investing and seeing what you like is going to really help you out. Next thing I'm going to tell you guys is to keep it simple. Don't try to do 19 earring holes. Don't try to do 7 layers of necklaces. Don't try to do 10 to 12 rings. Don't try to get your whole arm filled with bangles. Don't do all of that. Keep it relatively simple. Start off with maybe 1 or 2 rings on one hand. Okay, maybe start off doing your right hand, 1 or 2 rings. Then move over to your left hand. Then go to your wrist. Buy maybe 1, 2, 5 bracelets at the most to put on your wrist at a time. A little simple pair of earrings. Instead of going for the statement pieces, because you are looking for something that is everyday, go for the more simple hoops. Yes, it could be an elevated basics. It doesn't have to be oh so boring. Like I have the charm on this earring, and it does have some jewels on it, things like that. Yeah, add a little pizzazz, but keep it pretty minimal, because it's stuff that you want to be able to wear every day. You don't want to have to take off your earrings when you get in the shower because they're getting caught on your hair, or because you can't wear those to church. They won't fit church, or they won't fit you working out because they're too bulky and they're too heavy. For example, not only are these purple, but these are a little bit heavier. So I wouldn't wear these every day for the simple fact that they are heavy. So that is something that you guys want to keep in mind. Same thing with weight. Like, look at this. This is a pretty big face. I don't really like big faces. And then look how many little stones it has in this. Is this really, and this is not the worst, like this is not that bad, honestly. But like imagine if it was even more blinged out. Is that really what you want to wear every single day? Most of us day to day, unless you some type of rapper, trapper type of thing you got going on, you're not going to feel the most comfortable with this on. So I would say look for something maybe a little bit more dainty like what I have on. Now comparing this to another watch that I have that is a little bit more dainty that I used during this process. It doesn't have as many stones. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit better for every day, not as heavy, not as flashy. That's what you really want to stick to when you're thinking about doing your everyday jewelry. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have fun elements. Like I said, like this ring is a crown. You can get like little crown elements, add hearts, maybe a little charm bracelet or something. You can do all those type of things. It doesn't have to be basic, but it does need to be something that goes with almost everything you're going to wear, everything that you're going to be doing. Next, you are going to build slowly. So I started with my rings. I was most interested, and I've always been most interested in rings. I love rings. So I started with getting a couple of rings first. Then I moved on to my ears. Then I moved from my ears and I got a little bit more into my wrists. And even with my wrist, I added piece by piece. I started with watches. Then I started thinking, oh, maybe I like bangles. So I would add a bangle, take a bangle off. I like this. But I started by piece. Even with this is not actually the stack that really became my actual stack. Like once I was like, I think I have each piece for my stack. This wasn't the original one that I had because I just slowly added the pieces. Now, as you slowly build and you get more confident in the pieces, and you know, I like this style, I like this thing, or basically you have your whole setup set up, right? This is where you are going to start upgrading your jewelry. Now, let's get into some of the tiers of jewelry. I love Forever 21 jewelry. I actually do really like Forever 21 jewelry. I think they have cute, trendy items, but you're not going to be able to wear them every day. If you are looking for inexpensive jewelry, I would say Pavio. I do have Pavio pieces on right now. And I would say I've been using them for a good 3 years or so. I've bought them as gifts, gifted them to other people and things like that. So it's a really good brand, and I still have some original pieces from Pavio. So I would definitely recommend them if you're looking for more inexpensive but non-tarnished. Because that is also going to be another big thing when I'm talking about upgrading. Like, if you have fashion jewelry but you're starting to learn, like, no, this is the stuff that I like, and you want to keep it every day, a big part of your everyday jewelry is, girl, you need to get all that tarnishable jewelry out of there. Go and get rid of it. Then there's different levels of the upgrade from there, right? You might upgrade from Pavio to Pandora. I love Pandora as well. Or Swarovski. I think Swarovski and Pandora are very good mid-range, a little bit more on the affordable side of jewelry. And I think that they are also great to, like, okay, I moved up from my Pavio to my Swarovski or to my Pandora or something that's related. Cool. This is also the time, though, that if Pandora and Swarovski are your, like, cheap, not even mid-range brands, like, they're very affordable, they're the cheaper brands to you, and you're ready to upgrade as well, this is where you will upgrade to your gold, to your white gold as well. If you do decide to do gold or investments, this is where you might take the design to your jeweler and tell them, hey, I want this, I've been seeing this, what do you have in stock that looks similar to this, or what can you create for me? That's more so of when you start slowly upgrading. But you don't go straight up to to your jeweler, or go straight up to Pandora, or whatever it is, to the expensive option starting off. No. You start lower. You start with the fashion, with the fun, with the cool. Not fun, but you know, the more inexpensive. If you lose it, you lose it. Like, all those little rings that I lost on my finger in the moment, in the grand scheme of things, that's not as important. And even some of the Pandora rings that I lost, not as a big of a deal, versus $1,000 or a $10,000 ring or bracelet or something that I got from a jeweler. Yeah, I would care if I lost that. And how? Oh, because this class, I don't do well with this class, I don't do well with this size, actually this doesn't fit my finger. You start learning yourself first, and then you go to investing, because also you also don't want to get a piece that you think you might like, and then you buy it and then you never wear it, and it's like, well, I could have spent $30, or I could have spent $300 to participate in this trend, but instead I spent $1,800, or I spent $3,000. Now I'm okay. And pretty much, if you really take your time and be patient and figure out what does and doesn't fit you and things like that, you're going to be able to build your stack in no time. Now, don't rush it. Give yourself, I would say, if you're like, I want to get my everyday jewelry, especially if you are starting from like zero, like you're not sure what you like, you don't have your standard earrings, you don't have your standard necklace or anything, a standard bracelet, give yourself, I'd say 2 to 3 years to really work through it, but 2 years. But I think that you can get a really nice collection within like a year if you are really, really intentional. But if you're really like making your investments and stuff like that, girl, unless, I mean, some people got like that and you willing to spend, and it ain't willy-nilly, then maybe. But for me personally, I will say take your time throughout this process. I definitely have, and that's what got me most comfortable and got me to where I am right now. So while we are talking about that, let's actually get into my jewelry. I started with my rings, like I told you guys, Pandora. So currently my current stack is my promise ring from Pandora. I love this ring. It was about $60 or so. And then my wedding band. Before I got my wedding band, previously my other promise ring was on this finger, and then I had a thin band from Pandora as well, like a love band I think it was called, that I had on this finger as well. So I had both promise rings on here, and then I would interchange, and sometimes I do, but as of lately I haven't been feeling it, but sometimes I will add other rings here. So I did have, I think I would wear 3 or 4 rings every day. Yeah, about 3 or 4, and then in the end we're at 2, but it used to be 3. This one just got replaced My promise ring got replaced with my wedding band. Then we did earrings because I wanted to start getting everyday earrings. Now these are my earrings. I got them from Pavio. I wanted to get the Pandora ones, but Pandora doesn't have the size that I like. They have really small ones and then they have really big ones. I think they have 30 millimeters. And I believe these are either like, I think 10. I don't think they're 18. They're, I think, about 10. I think Pandora has only like 8 or something like that. It's just a lot smaller than this. And I feel like this is the perfect size for a hoop. And then of course I wanted it to not be so basic, so of course it has the studs, and then I have this charm that they also have in Pandora. So you can also recreate this at Pandora. The only reason that I didn't recreate this at Pandora, because I actually went in stores to recreate it, is because they didn't have the size earring that I would like. They may have a huggy now, so I might look at it, but for now these have lasted me. Now the clasp, I will say this, I read it, but not just even reading the reviews that I read lately, but also just buying from this brand when it comes to the earrings and the hoops. Sometimes, because these earrings are not the most expensive, I think if you get the vermeil, it's probably like 30, and if you don't get vermeil, it's I think probably like 14 or something like that. The hooks, they might break, so you might have to buy 2 pair. Yeah, they aren't the strongest or the best structure. It's kind of hit or miss when it comes to the little hooks, but other than that, it's pretty good. And of course, this is a very, very inexpensive brand, so for them to even last as long as they've been lasting me, perfect. And then the second hole is just a regular stud. I don't change this out. We're at 2 years now, but I got it pierced 2 years ago, so like the first year I didn't really change it out because my ears, they like to close back up, so I didn't really change it out. That's my earrings that I have in my ear. Then for necklace, I used to wear my necklace from Masha. It's no longer a company. I loved that pendant for the longest. That was my favorite pendant. I wore down to the ground, so much so that I would change the actual change the chain from the necklace, but I would keep the actual pendant. But as life went on, especially last year, I just feel I had went through so much with that pendant. I feel like it absorbed a lot of energy, and so that's why I don't wear it as much anymore. But I found myself missing that. I love this. I love a necklace, and I love a pendant necklace, especially with like a little gemstone. So my sister bought me this for Christmas. I think it's also from Pavio. If I can, I will link it down below, but I'm not sure because I don't know where exactly, like what this is. But I absolutely love it. It's green, so it adds a little bit of an element. And I don't know if you guys can see, but it also has like a little brown detail running through it. I didn't really notice that at first until later down the line. I was wearing my glasses, I was looking, I'm like, oh, it has a little bit of extra detail. But for the most part, even though it is like a green, I could wear it with most things. I don't always wear it because maybe I just don't feel like wearing a pendant that day. Maybe I have a turtleneck or whatever it might be, or I want to change out my jewelry. But for the most part, day to day, this is the necklace that I'm going to most likely be wearing. And then last but not least is the stack that I have been flashing at you guys time after time after time again. I got this bracelet. This bracelet is from Pavio. It is a bangle. I've had a few tennis bracelets, and I prefer this bangle. Out of all the tennis bracelets I've had a few different types. I actually realized I like bangles, and so this was like on the last step. Years, I probably got this last year, but years of wearing different bracelets and stuff like that, having tennis bracelets, I realized I like this bangle a lot more, and so I had the bangle. And then I got this watch as a birthday gift a long time ago, and I just never wore it. I got it 3 or 4 years ago, and so I used to wear this watch with this bracelet. I thought they looked so cute together. It went together really well, so I would wear these two together. But I felt like they were missing something. And because I felt like they were missing something, I ended up adding this pearl. So this ended up being my stack for the longest. I love this. Y'all know I have on pink right now. I have so much pink stuff. And this is such a light pink as well, that this stack went with almost everything that I would wear. Until I got this jewelry set. And I got it for when I went to Miami, and it didn't even come in time for when I went to Miami, one of the trips I took to Miami. But I wanted more bangles, so I got this little bangle, and this is what I'm talking about, like with the trendy stuff. It came with this bangle, It came with this bracelet as well. There's one more bracelet it came with. I just can't remember which one. And then it also came with this bracelet as well. So what's happened is when I started seeing this bracelet, I was like, oh, because sometimes this watch is a little bit big. So when I didn't want to wear the watch, but I wanted to have a stack, I would wear this. And then this became my standard stack. This is the stack that you see on social media a lot of the times when I'm referring to my stack. But I don't always feel like wearing pearls, especially since I went to a HBCU. If you know, you know. So yeah, I don't always feel comfortable and I always feel like wearing pearls. And I also do want to get back into getting watches because I don't know, it was something missing. That's what it was, to be honest. The girls, I've been seeing the girls, if I'm gonna be completely honest, with the Van Cleefs and with the, it's just those type of bracelets, if that makes sense. I've seen the extra, and this is of course not a Van Cleef at all, but it's just a watch, and it's just something that, like, because this didn't feel everyday jewelry, especially with the pearl. It was just missing that piece of jewelry. And what I would see with everybody else's is that a lot of people have the bangle, or they have this in between, but then they have the Van Cleef or a watch, or just something that makes the stack to me. You would think I would have started with this piece because this is what makes the stack, and then you add other things. That's how I kind of feel. And so as you see, I love it. But there's something missing. But we are in the season of using what we have. So I was like, let me just see. This is small enough to fit in between. Let's just see. I put it on top before. I don't really like it like that. But then when I put it in the middle of it, this will definitely work for now. So this is my everyday stack. It's just the right amount of bling and, you know, laid backness. And I love that it is two-tone because it brings in everything else, because my jewelry is a lot more two-tone. When I first began getting jewelry and things like that, I was very much a silver girl. I was very much one-tone. Like, that's why I got a promise ring in 2 colors, because honestly I had a gold promise ring for when I wore gold, and I had a silver promise ring for when I wore silver. Luckily I grew out of that, and now I do mixed metal. So I absolutely love that this watch is a mixed metal, and I really love that the silver is on the outside, because I know it's going to last a little bit longer versus if it was gold plated on the outside, because that would rub off a little bit more. I know that I am going to have to replace this middle bracelet pretty soon, just because of the material. I told you guys gold plated does not last as long, especially this type of bracelet. So I know I'm going to have to replace it. Help me out, guys, and let me know what y'all think I could replace it with. I'm down for a couple of different things, so let me know. That's the thing about a stack. That's the thing about your jewelry. You are always working on it. You're always going to be revolving things in and out of it until it's never going to be fully perfect, which is why you have such a beautiful jewelry collection. But you will end up having those standard pieces that stay and stand the test of time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. I absolutely enjoyed making it, and I could talk about jewelry up and down all day long, because I've been a fashion girl lately. If you've been liking the fashion content, also give me a thumbs up and share this video so that we can help some other people who are trying to build their stacks as well, because I know I'm not the only one building my stack, and I know the girls are interested in building their stacks, because I always get questions about my jewelry. And last but not least, you know what you gotta do if you ain't did it already. Come on now. Come on now. If you made it to this part of the video and you don't know what you need to do, you need to subscribe to my channel so you can grow with your girl, and so you can grow with your girl, and so you can grow with your girl. Break it down, and break it down, and
Ghost, yeah. So we are coming with a force, yeah. Blessings we are reap and we go it in on.